Hi Flosstube, I'm Kayla, the Hufflepuff Stitcher, and welcome to my channel. As you can see, I am joined today by Luna, who's taking a nap right there on the pillow, and Zelda's also walking around the room, so we'll see if she decides to pop up in the background or if she's just going to keep wandering. What I have for you today, I have got some updates on my WIPs, my works in progress. I also have one FFO. I've got some plans coming up for this coming week, and then at the end I have a surprise for you guys. So let's jump right in. The first project that I worked on this past week was my hometown holiday Clockmaker. I used this one for the homework assignment in the School of Magical Stitches and Literature to do 300 stitches in the color brown. And that was because chocolate is what is used after a Dementor attack. So here is where it was last time. And here is where I am now. So I actually was able to get in my full 300 stitches on here. I did this like roof color that is actually a very dark brown. Looks like it's coming across as more black, but it is like a deep dark chocolate color. And then I have this, I don't even know what you would call it, the topper of the building maybe. That is done in, I believe it's called light hazelnut. So I was able to get my full 300 stitches in on that. And I really like how much just adding that roof part added to that project. The next one that I worked on this past week was to fulfill the assignment of doing 300 stitches on something with claws or talons. And the way that this one was worded is that you did not need to do it on the thing itself that has the claws or talons. It just had to be done somewhere on the piece. So if there was something in the piece that had the claws or talons, then it absolutely counted. So for this one, I did my giant Harry Potter, which that is what it will eventually look like. Here is where it was last time. And, trying to get it. Here is where it is now. So McGonagall has officially joined the group. And again, there actually was enough stitches on her to fulfill the homework requirement. I am still cursing that DMC metallic. It is a pain to work with, but it turns out so nice. So I now have almost all of the professors. I'm still missing Dumbledore over there, but I believe once I get him done, that will finish off the professors section of this piece. Once I finished the homework assignments for the week, I did move on to some of the extra credit, and I actually got 2 of them done. I was able to get the monthly extra credit, which was to do 500 stitches in 310, which is black, and we had to do that for Serious Black. So what I did is I worked on my Haid. Let me see if I can get the picture for you here of what it will look like. There we are. So once it's done, this is how it's going to look. This is Mini Loyalty. And I'm still just on the first page, so still working up here in the corner. This is where it was last week. And this is how far I got. So I was able to do all 500 of my black stitches there and finish that assignment. So now the fun part will be going back and filling in those chunks of the yellow. I try when I do this one to do stripe of black and then chunk of yellow because the yellow is fairly confetti heavy. So I like to try and break it up with, an easy section, then a more detail-y section, then easy, etc. But to get the 500 stitches of black, I got that. So now I need to go back and fill in a little bit. So we'll see if maybe I can get that done this week at all. Move that over on the chair. And then I was also able to get one of the year-long extra credits done. So the year-long extra credit is to do 1,000 stitches. That meets one of, I believe, 22 different prompts. This one I actually brought to the local meetup of Stitchers. They meet every second Tuesday and third Saturday at the hospital here. So I brought this project to work on. This one I don't actually have a picture of to show you the final product, but it is the Pumpkinville Sal by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. So here's where it was last week, or last time. And this is how far I got. So the March block here is going to be a craft shop because apparently March is National Craft Month. And the little girl in this block, she is knitting. So what I'm choosing to do for this prompt is the Gryffindor common room is on the 7th floor. And the way I made that work is that Hermione, when she starts SPEW, the Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare, she decides that she is going to knit hats and socks for the elves, the house elves, and hide them around the common room. So in that block, I have my little knitter. She's going to be my Hermione. She's going to be knitting the hats and socks to hide in that Gryffindor common room. Moving on to my fully finished object. Now, it's not very big. This is just a little freebie that was available with the year-long Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Stitch-Along. This little freebie is supposed to be a piece of cake. I made him into a scissor fob that I just stuck on there because right behind me on the couch, pretty much where Luna's sleeping right now, is where my stitchy spot is. And I usually just leave my scissors on the arm of the couch, but then when the dogs get up there, they fall into the couch. And my hope is that by adding a nice chunky scissor fob there, that they won't get lost in the couch. I'll be able to find them easily. So that was my little FFO for the week. Fully finished object. As you can see, Zelda's bringing me her Frisbee. As you can also see, she has chewed the Frisbee. Because why just play with it when you can destroy it? All right, so moving on to my plans for this coming week. This week, what we need to do for the School of Magical Stitches and Literature is we need to fill out our class schedule. So what they did is they listed out the different classes that you can take, and you have to choose at least 3 and do 200 stitches for each one. If you would like to be an overachiever, you may do all 5, and if you can do all 5 without needing to do the penalty stitches, which is what you would do when, say, you want to meet the prompt, but you don't happen to have any current projects that meet it, you can do the double stitches. So if it calls for 200, you can double it and do 400 to, I guess, pass whatever that is, even if you don't have a project that fits it. If you can do all 5 classes without needing to do any of the penalty stitch options, then you get an extra 10 points for your house. So I am going to try, and I'm hoping that these will all work, but this is what I'm planning on. So one of the classes we are taking is Care of Magical Creatures. And sorry, I'm looking down. I've got my list down here. For Care of Magical Creatures, what I am going to work on this week is Gigi, which is my Nora Corbett. And I am choosing to work on her because I'm going to say that this little cat down here is half Kneasel, kind of like Crookshanks. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but in my mind, that's how I always read it. It's essentially a magical cat. They are particularly good at finding deception. So I'm going to say that this little cat down here is part Kneasel, and I will do my 200 stitches on Gigi. The next class that I'm doing is Arithmecy, which is something that Hermione takes, but Harry and Ron never do. And since the stories are mostly told from Harry's point of view, we don't get to see too much of the class. But what we know is that it's got to do with numbers. So the one I'm doing for this is going to be a birth announcement. And I don't have a picture of how it will fully look. What I will do is insert a picture here of the one that I did for my niece. So it's essentially the same thing that I'll be working on. My sister just found out that she is going to be having a little boy. So although I don't have the numbers yet to put into this because the child has not yet been born, so we don't know the dates, don't know the weight, anything like that, it will eventually have numbers. So I'm going to count that as my arithmecy. And this one is just a dimensions kit that I got years ago. I saved the pattern for it so that I can stitch it over and over. The next one I will do is for Muggle Studies, which, I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory, pretty much just non-magical. So what I will do for that one is, all right, Zelda, please stop. I will be working on some more of that March block for my Pumpkinville Sal. Specifically what I'm using is the scissors. So I'm going to assume that scissors are more of a Muggle thing since I don't believe they ever use it in Harry Potter. They use like a severing charm. So for Muggle Studies, I'm counting scissors as my Muggle object. Really, I just want to finish this block before April comes out. That is my ultimate goal. If I finish early, I can keep going on the center banner because that is not done yet either. And I would love to be all caught up. I don't like being behind on those. The next class is going to be divination. And somebody in the Hufflepuff Common Room, I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was, posted a link to the Wikipedia page for divination. So it listed out all the different ways that have been used in the past to supposedly divine the future. And one of those ways happens to be called, I believe, zoomancy is how it's pronounced, which is predicting the future based on the behavior of animals. So for that one, since I haven't worked on it in a very long time, I will be working on my Realest Hedgehog kit. I bought this one years ago. I am determined to get this one done. I mean, decently close. So I'm going to be getting my 200 stitches in on these little guys and counting that as my divination through zoomancy. And then the last one that I am planning on doing for this week is the study of ancient runes. And for the study of ancient runes, I don't have anything that's necessarily runish. However, I do have my giant Harry Potter, which has all of these spells listed along the sides. Not all of them, but, you know, it's got spells. And those spells actually have Latin roots to them. So that is how I am planning on tying that into my study of ancient runes. It's a language that people used to write in, would be Latin. So hopefully that will work. And that is the end of my plans for this coming week, which means that it is time for the surprise. Now, I have actually finally passed 100 subscribers, which I say finally, but I never expected to reach that milestone. The fact that there's that many people out there who are interested in watching me talk about cross stitch blows my mind. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And in honor of passing that milestone, I wanted to do a giveaway. So as I mentioned in, I believe it was my first video, I am planning on doing one building in the Hometown Holiday series by Little House Needleworks each year. So this past year, the one that I did, I have it partially FFO'd, not all the way, but I worked on the pet store and got it finished. So I've got it mounted right now. I'm planning on making it a flat fold, still have to finish it. But since I am finished with the stitching, I thought that would make a nice giveaway pattern. So if you are interested in winning the Little House Needleworks chart here, the pet store, please comment below. What you will do is you need to be a subscriber. You need to be over 18 years old. That way it's okay for you to give me your address. You also, please do not say the word giveaway. I want to make sure that this goes to somebody who will actually love it and not just someone who searches for free giveaways. So do not say the word giveaway. I will have to delete your comment. Sorry, guys. And since this is a small chart, I am okay with shipping it anywhere. So what I want you to do to enter this giveaway is comment below and tell me who your stitching buddy is. As you can see, Luna is my stitching buddy. When Zelda decides to lay down, she is my other stitching buddy. I want to hear about yours. And if you don't have one, tell me who you would want to be your stitching buddy. And that is all that I have for you guys today. So until next time, keep it magical, guys. Bye.